Halal BaBi chop is an interesting phrasing to use to describe anything, but that is what Bill Tan Heng Kwee came up with as he sent a packet of meat over to the Masjid Istiqamah in Singapore. There was a whole drama for a while as people were trying to figure out who had done it. A whole statement by K. Shanmugam saying that this was playing with fire for I think rather obvious reasons. There was even a woman who was hospitalized because of this incident and because of the shock. And finally, this Sapoop was charged on the 27th of September for the very obvious crimes and faces 3 years in prison, a fine, or both. Wow. Good job, Bill. You okay or not, bo? Uncle Anybody can see just how offensive and completely wrong-headed a person like this has to be, right, in order to do something as catastrophically stupid as that. But then actually, right, whether you okay or you not okay, limpe kalikong, right, by edict of the Council of Tans, goodbye, sorry, you are disowned. You know, I can already see his defenses in court already. You can imagine him going out there and then saying, oh, it's just a joke. Or saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm disabled. Or maybe he's gonna go out and then create some sort of grand theory about how people who are not of the same religion as him are horrible, they're all terrorists, cannot be trusted, and therefore he feels like it's okay to just insult them. And frankly, I think that almost everybody out there knows that he's obviously out to try to mock people. He thinks that there are no consequences to his actions. He can live that secret double life, zero accountability, and then go back to work with no problems whatsoever. Well, he thought wrong. If you are wondering why in the flipping hell he would even do something like that, trust me, the entirety of Singapore and probably Malaysia is wondering as well. Because if you think about it, what he did is kind of like a very interesting hobby for a 61-year-old. And I say hobby because apparently he didn't just do it once, he apparently went around to different mosques around Singapore. It's also interesting that he's doing this in a country that preaches the idea of one united people, but somehow developed such a hatred and resentment for his fellow countrymen to the point that he thought that somehow, oh, this is a very good idea, let's go right ahead and do it. But you know what's most interesting of all is that the man is an educator. I think this man understands very well just how weird all of those things are, which is probably why he's going around asking if he can make public appearances while wearing a mask. But that's probably not going to help him when people realize that he worked at Eunoia JC. It was confirmed by the JC, and even though his face is no longer on the website, I'm just saying, but you could probably go on archive.org and then put in this link right here if you want to see what his face looks like. If you're living in a country with many different cultures and many different religions, then why do you want to go out there and insult the people who are living with you? You hate them, you don't like them, then just don't interact with them. Live your own life. Why do you need to go out there and just provoke people for no reason? What does it accomplish? I have literally no idea about what universe he thinks he's living in and what kind of result he's actually going for. Do you know what he was trying to do with his halal BaBi chop? If you know, then let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But I do want to highlight though, that as a Malaysian, I've been very impressed with the Singaporean response. First of all, it was a very efficient and fast response. He sent the packages on September the 24th. He was charged just 3 days later on September 27th. And second of all, it really showcased, I think, that in Singapore, you can be a part of the majority, but you will still get punished without regard for fear or favor. When people were commenting, right, I think that you can really see people from all races and religions going out and talking about how this is not okay, this is not acceptable for Singaporean society. Given that there is this extremely wrong-headed kook going out there and then trying to mock, disparage, or push down their community. And you can even see religious leaders of every single faith coming out with their postings here, there, and everywhere to be in solidarity with the Muslim community. I think this is actually amazing though, because it really shows the cohesion of the community regardless of race and religion. And if you think about it, it's just completely different from what you see in Malaysia. I mean, here, I expect to see people coming out with graphics about why other religions are false, Zakir Naik, complaining about crosses, calling people animals, sneaky conversions, and all of that nonsense out there, with a cherry on top with people like Irfan Qayyum making grand declarations about how apparently here in Malaysia the minorities do all the barking. Wow. Which is, by the way, something that I reported, and I encourage you to report as well whenever you see anybody behaving in this way. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I really admire Singapore's civil society. I think that this was something that absolutely needed to happen, and it's a masterclass in what happens when you have agitators that somehow think that halal BaBi chop is something smart. Because really, it is not. It is the most stupid, most racist, most unintelligent thing that a person could actually do, and an embarrassment to watch from somebody who is 61 years old and could actually be the age of my father if he were alive today. But anyway, it is what it is, and yeah, that happened in Singapore, and I think Malaysia can learn a lot from them. Alright, that's about it. See ya.